Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Majlis session. Today is our third and last day of Misk Global Forum of 2023. Today's our first session is about fast fashion and conscious choice. For me, I believe the joy of fashion is an art. So please join me in welcoming our elegant moderator, Dalal Alsadhan. And please welcome our special guest, Hande Sadic. Thank you and enjoy your session.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to have you here with us at Miss Global Forum. In today's panel, we delve into the dynamic world of fast fashion and the importance of our fashion decisions on both the environment and society. Diving into this topic, I'm joined by a renowned fashion expert who brings a wealth of knowledge to the field, Ms. Hande Sadic, the Chief Product Officer at the Giving Movement, whose role includes leading product value chain and supply chain operations in the UAE. She was also the founding member and Chief Product Officer at Pangaya, and she had demonstrated global operation expertise at top-tier brands like Alexander McQueen, Victoria Beckham, and Marmiko. Welcome, Ms. Hande.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me here today. So I'm
so
looking
happy to
forward
have
to our
you.
discussions. Yeah.
I'm so excited about this session because, like I mentioned to you before, I studied fashion marketing, so it's very exciting and interesting for me to be moderating this session. And I want to start by the Giving Movement because they are focusing their efforts on the local supply chain. How, and tell us more on how are they doing that and its linked to sustainability?
Sure. Sustainability is a very big topic, and it's not just only one way of looking at it. From the way you produce your product, from the way you design your product, from the way you source your materials, it's a big, vast array. And what we're doing at the Giving Movement is, of course, there's a design element that we make sure that designs are applicable to our consumer base, and then we look at our sourcing of the material that we are using sustainable recycled material throughout the collections. But one of the biggest sustainability story comes from actually our local manufacturing, because when you look at your supply chain in the fashion businesses, and fashion sector, as you know, it's one of the largest industry that is causing pollution across the world.
Especially fast fashion.
Especially fast fashion. The way you purchase your product from China, India, and navigating all your raw materials to the manufacturing, without realizing you're actually allocating a lot of resources and actually carbon footprints, and your lead times becomes longer, heavier, and dirtier, in short. So what we're doing in the Giving Movement is our suppliers are local based, and we are doing all our manufacturing in 10-kilometer radius from where we are. This allows us to many things as a business, becoming fast responsive and agile, so that we can demand better and our forecast is more accurate rather than producing lots of units. So we become agile and fast responsive. And also having a factory that is very close to us, we can also plan our manufacturing at a shorter time, and we usually have longer term raw materials so that they come in one go, and then there is not multiple back and forth in the supply chain coming the materials bringing to UAE, and then we are manufacturing in the way smaller and divided ways, which is more sustainable than producing globally. For example, if you are to produce 10 units globally, but you need actually one, you need to produce 10 and bring one. Yeah. So what we are doing is we are looking at the demand, and also we are producing with that demand, allowing us not to overproduce.
That's so interesting.
And
So local manufacturing is one of the main things to ensuring sustainability.
yes, from product traceability and your supply chain transparency point of view, which is one of the topic when you look at sustainability as a whole, it's the key to stay close to your home.
Radius. Yeah.
And so that also the teams are more responsive. You can travel to the factory. If there is any problem that you need to tackle into, you can be in direct conversation rather than flying to a factory in China or elsewhere.
And helping the economy as well.
Absolutely. And then there is an element of helping the economy, local laborers, and around that, you become also fostering another purpose of the sustainability. But on the flip side of the coin, which is quite important, you are not able to produce everything in one location. Some factories, there are technical products that cannot be done because it's out of their professional scope. So as a brand, and this every brand does, you tend to naturally go elsewhere to get the product quality right, to get the message right around the product. That's why what we are doing in a very smart way, while we protect our local manufacturing, we also make sure that some of our categories that we believe the durability, the quality, and the technicality, that speciality wouldn't come from local manufacturing. We go to the expert and we plan that way, but we are usually 9 to 10 ratio, 90% here and 10% elsewhere.
It's so interesting. You talk about like going for specialties and expertise, and I wanted to ask about artificial intelligence. And it's becoming more and more apparent that digital transformation is the new way forward. And I wanted to see how AI is supporting our efforts in the fashion world towards this cause of sustainability.
Yep. This is a topic I'm personally very excited about, actually, because as much as we demonize artificial intelligence in many ways, I think we will see a lot of benefits from artificial intelligence in the entire value chain for fashion. This goes in two folds. For me, one of them is brand will take responsibility to provide their customer transparency and traceability. So one of the topic is transparency that you can bring with AI. You can take a pledge on actually following all the way through how the raw materials are sourced, how it's being transported, and how it became to that material. So that transparency gives you a clear truth of where your product has been made. That's one thing. And the other thing is the traceability that comes after you go into manufacturing.
Right.
When it started manufacturing, when it's out of the factory, coming to your warehouse, so you can actually trace the whole product with artificial intelligence by putting a simple QR code onto your garments, and you can as easily scan and see whole entire journey. That's more consumer-facing side that, there is a lot of movements around that traceability and transparency. The other fold is more on the B2B side. Artificial intelligence has an incredible speed making your demand forecast in a way accurate way, which means if you are a certain size of a brand, you will be able to demand and plan your forecast and sales in a much better way than a manual computer can do. So this will result in a very effective way, correct forecast planning, which will result less overproduction, because it's a big problem in today's fashion world that overproduction that goes to landfill, overproduction that actually gets burned down by the order of some brands, it will cause a lot of sustainability issues, especially in fashion. But if the brands are able to do right forecasting based on artificial intelligence data, and also looking at also design elements, what consumer wants, and design more intelligently, this will result in incredible amount of educated guests rather than estimations. So I think artificial intelligence will help in many great ways in achieving the journey of sustainability.
Yeah. And on that note, since you said educating guests, I wanted to ask you, because maybe many viewers here don't know, or maybe how we can educate them to make choices that are environmental friendly. What should they look for?
Of course. So this actually as goes hands to hands. It's also the institutional education. I believe retailers, brands will take an incredible instrumental role here to educate the consumer. In the world of ever evolving and every minute and new trends and concepts are coming, especially in fashion, we are all tend to buy for the trend rather than for durability of your product or longevity of your product. As we say, timeless pieces are here to stay instead of the trends. So I think one of the key elements is taking a collective approach from brands, retail, educational, institutional sides, explaining sustainability topic little bit more in depth, because sustainability goes beyond how your product is made and if the sustainable material is used. It goes more on the consumer behavior, the trends, and how do we consume our clothing and fashion.
Yeah.
So that's why I believe education is one part, but brand has to play a key role. And also, as mentioned before, if a product is traceable and transparent, that our under brands are taking that torch, carrying the flag, and explaining what is sustainable and why is being that way, I think that will change and interplay between sustainability and fast fashion in today's world.
You just made me realize something that I wanted to ask if it's part of sustainability. I know now there are a lot of brands that coming up with, pre-loved items, and I wanted to know your thoughts on that. And you talked about overproduction.
Yeah.
Is that something that
It's actually an incredibly valuable trend and reality, more than the word of a trend actually, that is right now coming with the youth and young generation, which I am extremely proud of that approach.
and more
because-
affordable as well?
Exactly.
It's the same
More
luxury
affordable, and these type of initiatives like resale, swap shops, repair shops, or brands and retailers are now taking second-hand product, giving certain discount if you swap your second hands, etc. This will also create a movement around sustainability, because when you think back of your grandmother's wardrobe,
Yes.
the clothing are still impeccably nice. They are used by, natural fibers, and they are impeccably made and still sustains themselves.
And trendy.
And
Well,
trendy.
yeah.
Yes, and in the world of consumerism and the trends are becoming way around changing every day, I believe this type of trends, resale, swap shops, and brands taking this lead and having a second-hand marketplaces and things are coming in stylish way. This is also leads to, again, overbuying decisions is made instead of new, you're buying pre-owned clothing. And I think this is one of the other biggest, trend in the sector as fashion moves into more sustainable habits and trends. This is something quite big that is already existing and coming very, very big already.
Yeah, and sharing is caring. I mean, if
Absolutely.
or if you have so many things, it's always
Yes,
good.
and it's fun. Like
is fun, yeah.
last year, there was a swap shop in Saudi Arabia,
Okay.
and it was an incredible success. So I was here for that, and seeing people bringing their clothing, some of them getting repaired, and it was an initiative done by the Fashion Commission, And I was actually quite impressed. It was my first time seeing a swap shop.
Yeah.
Because I always seen secondhand, like
Yeah.
mixing vintage pieces, etc. But swap shops were fun because everyone was bringing their own style. People were talking and styling themselves. So I think that's one of the other things that will really make a difference.
There's a story to it as
Yeah,
well, because you're
exactly.
sharing something you wore and maybe a
Yes,
certain day.
rather than a transactional
Yeah,
shopping
yeah,
experience,
exactly.
it becomes an emotional exchange as well. You carry something that is pre-loved,
Yes.
that is taken good care of, and then you're wearing
Giving
it.
it to someone else.
Yeah.
We're almost done with our talk, but I wanted to just, from everything that you've said, tell us one advice that you think we should all follow to be more conscious.
Of course. This is an advice I give it to myself, actually. If I'm inclined to buy something new, I ask this question to myself: do I really need this?
Or want it.
Yes, because there's a difference between needing it and
Wanting
wanting it. And we are all tend to want it more than we need it. Or if I really want to buy it, let's say I said I don't need it, but I want it, I promise myself that I
Give
would
something,
swap one thing
yes.
from my wardrobe, either donate, either go to a secondhand store, so that I make sure that I don't over accumulate.
Yeah.
And that would be one advice in asking ourselves if we need it or want it.
Want it.
And giving up one piece for every piece you bought.
I love that advice. I think I'm going to follow that. I trust and hope that we all can be conscious consumers, work together to make ethical and sustainable choices that benefit our environment and society. Thank you so much, Ms. Hande.
Thank you for having
Thank you
me.
to the lovely guests.
Thank you.